Alright, so Halo Infinite. The developers, 343 Industries, posted this picture, or tweeted this picture yesterday, which says, "Today I want to share an important Halo Infinite development update with the community. We have made the difficult decision to shift our release to 2021 to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision. The decision to shift our release is the result of multiple factors that have contributed to development challenges, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts affecting us all this year. I want to acknowledge the hard work from our team at 343 Industries, who have remained committed to making a great game and finding solutions to development challenges. However, it is not sustainable for the well-being of our team or the overall success of the game to ship it this holiday. We know this will disappoint many of you, and we all share the sentiment. The passion and support the community has shown over the years has been incredible and inspiring. We wanted nothing more than to play our game with the community this holiday. The extra time will let us finish the critical work necessary to deliver the most ambitious Halo game ever at the quality we know our fans expect. Thank you for your support and understanding. Chris Lee, Studio Head, Halo Infinite." So this, I was quite surprised by the announcement to delay Halo Infinite, considering it's been less than 3 weeks since the big Xbox event where they showed Halo Infinite gameplay for the first time, and where they said that they would launch this year. So it's a bit surprising that they made this change so soon after that event, which would imply that these discussions were already happening internally at 343 Studios and Microsoft. They probably already knew when they were telling people that launch time window of with Xbox Series X launch, that they already knew that that is a tough sell. Maybe they had originally planned to ship the multiplayer later, as was the rumor that came out shortly after this was shown. That could be the case, that they originally had planned that, and when the rumor broke, people were quite negative about it, understandably, because the multiplayer in Halo is a huge deal, like very, very big deal. Although now it's going to be free to play, so anyone can play the multiplayer for Halo Infinite, which I think is a really cool idea. But yeah, then it could be that maybe because the backlash to that was so severe that they decided that it's better to delay the game so that they can release the multiplayer with the game. But I mean, I'm just speculating here because I don't work at 343 Studios. I don't know what the project is like, what stage they're in, so it's impossible for me to say what the exact circumstances here are, but for sure this is not something that they decided within the last 2 weeks. Like, this is something that they have been for sure discussing already for a while, especially with the COVID stuff. Like, I definitely understand that, because for us it hasn't impacted our work at the studio that I work at, Avalanche Studios, because we all of a sudden aren't in the same location. We're not used to working all from home. You know, it has a huge impact on the whole team. And of course, I would imagine that the Halo team is like a few hundred people. I would imagine 200-300, that's my guess. So if you move 200-300 people to work remotely all of a sudden, it's going to have a huge impact on productivity, communication, team morale, a lot of stuff. It will improve some things, but you know, due to the fact that you're not in the same location, your communication will inevitably fall down, and stuff will fall through the cracks a lot more than usual. And it's harder to review stuff together, especially if you're making a console exclusive, but Halo is on PC as well, so it's a little bit easier for them. Then probably testing on console becomes more difficult for them. At least that's what I've heard from us, that testing stuff on console when you work remotely is a big challenge. So I understand that for sure that has impacted them, and if they would push that hard, the well-being of the team would suffer for sure, and probably the quality of the game would suffer as well. So I think it is good that they're taking the extra time. And what I think is really nice to see in the industry now is that the sentiment towards games being delayed is a lot more positive nowadays. So from what I've seen, everyone is very happy that the game is being delayed. They're saying, you know, I'm sad but good. Take the time that you need so that the game is great. Don't rush things. And that is a big shift to, let's say, 10 to 5 years ago, when if a game got delayed, the backlash was always negative. There was always people being upset online when games got delayed. Whereas nowadays, when a game gets delayed, people are like, okay, good, take the time you need so that the game is good. And here comes the leftist spiel. I wish that when people took more time, the focus would also always be that the team doesn't have to crunch, which a lot of times is not the case. So hopefully here that is the case, because CD Projekt, for example, CD Projekt Red mentioned that when they originally announced that the Cyberpunk 2077 was delayed from the beginning of this year until September, they said basically the crunch will be extended by 6 months, which is bad. Luke, absolutely, I would much prefer a game take longer so that a better product is released. I agree. Yes, I agree so as well. And hopefully Halo is good. I don't think that the trailer that they showed was bad, but I don't think it was particularly wowing. From it looked like Halo. I mean, granted, I'm not a huge Halo fan. I think I played Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, and Reach. I have not played Halo 4 or Halo 5. The trailer that they showed at the Xbox event I thought was okay. But it wasn't it didn't feel like a next generation game to me, versus what Sony was showing at their pressers. Some of those clearly were okay, wow, this looks like a next generation thing. Of course, it's always the case at the beginning of a new console cycle, we're not going to get the most out of the machine yet, because many of the games that come out there are still, especially if they're made for both the previous generation and the new generation, then the difference is not going to be that huge. So I think a year or two from the launch of the consoles, you really start to see stuff that's pushing the envelope as we leave the previous generation behind. So, but yeah, the trailer that they showed, it didn't wow people, I feel like, as a next generation game. It looked like a game that could be from this generation. But I think this is good. I hope it allows them to make the game better, both single player and multiplayer. I know that the single player was considered lackluster in Halo 5, and I believe due to the reception that it got, they rewrote the story for Halo Infinite. So it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out. I think this was something that the development team already knew, probably at the time of showing the trailer and talking about the release date, that they would possibly have to either push the release date or release a product with less features or less quality. And after the reaction that they had, it probably was another reason to consider delaying. It wasn't, I don't think it was the main reason, because people were that they're gonna now fuck, we're gonna delay the game because no one liked it. I don't think that's the case. I think it was a factor, but again, I don't work at 343. I don't know people at 343, so I don't know what went down. But I think it's good, because they just say 2021. It could be the end of 2021. It could be the beginning. We don't know how long the delay is. It could be anything from 3 months to 1 year, and depending on that, we will see how that affects the game. We'll see. But I think it's good. Overall, it's a good thing that they're taking their time. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Declan, you'll probably know this better than I do, but from what I remember, the Master Chief Collection had a pretty rough launch, right? I remember that it had a very rough launch. First of all, the fact that not all the games were available, and then I think technical difficulties, and then Halo 5 didn't get very glowing reviews when it came out. So I think those, the last two big Halo games, barring Halo Wars, which is a separate spin-off, I think those also affect the decision to launch something that is of really good quality. Because, you know, if you have already 2 mainline Halo games that haven't been received well, like, and you have your basically your flagship title for the new generation, you don't want that to be also not great. Technically, yeah, not that well versed in it, but I heard that launch was a disaster. It took them like 2 years to fix it. Oof, I mean, that's bad. And that's very expensive for them as well. From my understanding, like now the Master Chief Collection is like really, really good. Good on 343 Studios. I hope that gives them the time to make a great game that is a great reason for people to get either the Xbox Game Pass or Series X. Because, to be honest, right now, looking at like Xbox Game Pass, I think is a great offer. It's super, super fucking good. Like on PC, it's €4 a month, and then, you know, I don't know how that translates to different currencies, but for €4 a month, you get access to all of the major like first-party Xbox games, so Gears, Halo, Forza, Sea of Thieves, whatever exclusive stuff that comes to Xbox One from their first-party studios also comes to PC. So you get access to all of those, and you also get access to a load of indie games, a lot of them on day one of release. And for €4 a month on PC, it is a steal. Like an insanely good deal. Like, I think that is going to be something that in the upcoming console generation is going to be a huge benefit for Microsoft. And now the fact that they are also coming out with xCloud, their streaming service, so you can basically play all of the Xbox Game Pass games on your phone, only on Android at the moment because Apple is difficult. That is also, I think, something that in the future might be a huge advantage to them over Sony. So yeah, I think that's going to be a big advantage for Microsoft, the Game Pass and xCloud down the line. However, talking of Series X, right now, Series X doesn't seem to have that strong of a launch lineup of like big games to get Series X for. I'm sure there's going to be people who get it because they like Microsoft stuff. You know, they get that stuff. I was talking with a friend who was like, "Yep, I'm going to get it because I love Microsoft." And it's like, yeah, that's fair. But exclusivity-wise, there's not much that's going to be there at launch, and this kind of speaks to the problem that Microsoft have this generation with their strategy, where they were going into this generation with Xbox One as this is going to be the media device, and they had heavy focus on television and sports and all that stuff, which they got a terrible reception for, and they did a complete 180 away from it. And they had also kind of gotten the focus away from huge first-party games, and those two things really hurt them this generation. And midway, they kind of started ramping up by buying more studios and founding some studios to start working on big first-party titles that would be like Xbox flagship titles. And we saw some of those come to fruition, like Sea of Thieves. But many of those games are still not here because those moves have been fairly recent in the last few years. So I think that's one of the reasons why the Series X doesn't have those big, impressive titles. Halo was supposed to be one of them, but don't have that right now at launch because, you know, we saw the trailer for Fable, but it was just a CG trailer, so it's probably still quite early. We saw the trailer for the Rare game, I forget what it was called. The one that's like in nature and stuff, which will look really cool, but it's still, you know, early. So I think they will get their cool first-party stuff in a few years once their shift in strategy regarding those comes into play. But we will see. It's going to be an interesting next generation for sure, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. Hey there, thanks a lot for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit on that thumbs up to like the video and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, or you can come and check out my streams on Twitch. I stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Okay, have a good one. Bye.